In LA this week,
if the Black Lives Matter movement stops, no one else's movement is going to matter. So we need to keep pushing because the rights of Black people are going to support the rights of everyone.
Housing affordability, the economy, jobs, living wages, and especially we saw a big focus this year in racism and how racism plays a huge part in how people fall into homelessness.
This is gonna help 3 of my family members that are in need, so I'm very happy and blessed that they have this opportunity for the community.
Hello everyone, I'm Saida Pagan. Here's what's happening in LA this week. The LA City Council passed a motion giving unprecedented aid to low-income renters in Los Angeles. And while the escalating problem of rising rents comes to the forefront of the political discussion, the fiery debate of the homeless population is also back in the spotlight. We sat down with Heidi Marston, Executive Director of the Los Angeles Homeless Services Authority, to discuss the latest results of the yearly homeless count.
So the point-in-time numbers this year paint a picture that says homelessness is up over last year. However, there are bright spots in those numbers that include we are making progress year over year. We are serving more people in our system. Year over year, more people are being placed into housing. We measure based on surveys and the number of families who are unsheltered who we can talk to. So I liken it to COVID-19 testing. The more people that you test, the more people you'll see that are positive. The more unsheltered families we talk to, the more unsheltered families we will count. So in this sense, we got a better baseline for our unsheltered family population, and that represents somewhat of a change in our methodology. We continue to see wages not keeping pace with rental costs across the whole county. $41 an hour just to afford a one-bedroom apartment is unacceptable, and that's why we see in a lot of our programs teachers, they're healthcare workers, they're working full-time. It's not people who don't work and don't have jobs. They just can't afford to live. And I think that is the true injustice, is that we have people and we're expecting them to work not only more than 40 hours a week, but 40, 60, 80 hours a week just to be able to have an apartment. The Black African American community is far overrepresented in our homeless population, not only across the country, but in Los Angeles too. So LOS has taken a number of steps. We recently brought on board a director of equity. His entire focus is to ensure that that lens is infused into everything we do, from the policies we make to the programs we develop. Reaching that community starts with ensuring that all of our staff and all of our organizations represent the people that we're trying to serve. So we need diversity in our ranks, we need people who have lived experience in our ranks, and we need to elevate their voices and listen. We learned that through the ad hoc committee on Black people experiencing homelessness, that one of the largest things people said is, what could have stopped me from becoming homeless is somebody who cared about me, somebody who understood where I was coming from. That's the kind of lens that we have to bring, and not just hearing the voices and giving a spot at the table, but engage them in the policy making and the decision making to drive the change. These are our neighbors, and we have to see them that way, and so we should all be saying yes to those folks coming indoors. Everybody has a role to play in solving this crisis. That's been true since the beginning, but even more so now in the context of what's happening in the world, we see that this could have been any of us.
Angelenos have been uniting in protest for weeks now with no sign of letting up. An eclectic group called Rise and Skate chose downtown Los Angeles as the best site to make their voices heard.
If the Black Lives Matter movement stops, no one else's movement is going to matter. So we need to keep pushing because the rights of Black people are going to support the rights of everyone.
The event is called Rise and Skate, and it is a community grassroots event. The initial inception of it was to break out of the restraints of curfews and get out and see your city in the glory of a morning, unrestricted, unheld back, free to just be out and experience the joy that is your own community.
This is something that I do regularly anyway, so I thought it was an excellent idea for implementing something that It's exercise and active for activism, for something that I represent that directly impacts me, and I want to participate in as many manners as I can. This was something that I could make, and I'm here.
They have the power to choose where their money goes. They have the power to choose where their vote goes. This is people coming together to demand a total change.
One by one, the LA Department of Public Health has given businesses and industries guidelines on how to reopen as the city still grapples with COVID-19. As Maria Hall Brown reports, getting LA's third largest industry up and running again is no small feat.
Well, obviously the pandemic shut down a lot of businesses, including film and television production, which is not really good for a city known for being the entertainment capital of the world. But things are opening up. I'm delighted to be joined today by Kevin James. So let's talk about opening, because as of June 12th, production is possible with all kinds of rules, restrictions, cautions, thoughts that have to go into it. So what are the parameters that a production could actually get rocking again?
The entertainment industry, with all of the guilds and unions, they all came together in a significant coalition and came up with their industry white paper. The industry white paper is what the state adopted and moved forward when the governor issued the path forward for the entertainment industry in the state of California. It is very detailed. It covers everything from testing on site. There is going to be a required safety compliance officer that has been trained and certified that is required as well. There are all kinds of new provisions regarding spacing, obviously crowd scenes. Much of that will be done virtually online with what you can do with computer technology now. And there will be definite interest in shooting outside, safer to be outside a bit, or in a large soundstage environment. Less of a focus early on for on-location filming. That's something that I think is going to be a slower entrance back into the industry. And then naturally, any scenes like sports where you have close physical contact,
Kissing,
fighting scenes, any kissing scenes, things like that. There's going to be an attempt to move away from that for the time being.
You mentioned the safety officer. Every set has somebody on set who is responsible for making sure that the safety of the crew and the cast is in place. But this is a completely different human. This has to be someone with some sort of medical expertise, I imagine.
So, well, there's a certification process. Some of them, I expect some of them will have CERT background, EMT background maybe. Certainly the folks that are the safety compliance officers will have to meet the standards that are set forth in there.
How do you see this slowly rolling out? Do you see it rolling out exterior-based commercial infomercials that sort of semi-roll into shiny floor shows?
My guess, again, it's a guess, but it's an educated guess.
Right.
Our first permit is for a commercial.
Mm-hmm.
We expect commercials for on-location to be the first ones to roll out for a number of reasons. One, they're smaller,
right.
Easier to contain, smaller footprint. Shows that are easily done with a small crew on a large soundstage, cooking shows, and some of the reality shows. The bigger challenges are going to be the larger productions with larger budgets that have larger risk.
Well, this has been utterly fascinating. Thank you so much for all of this information.
Awards for supporting roles are begun with Walter Brennan in 1936. Over the years, he will win 3 Oscars.
Since the 1930s, the unions SAG and AFTRA have been advocating and protecting the rights of performing artists in media. Well, times have certainly changed, but the mission remains the same, even in these precarious times. So I'm delighted to be joined today by SAG COO and General Counsel, Duncan Crabtree Ireland. So a lot is going on within the industry right now, but most importantly, the fact that production is starting to begin again.
It's been a tough time, of course. It's been several months since anyone's been able to really get on a set and do any kind of production. We estimate that our members have lost around $500 million in earnings during this time period. We've really come up with what we think is a a plan that can be practically implemented, but that also provides a high degree of safety for the performers and the crew who have to be working under those conditions.
There's also an emotional component here too, and since you know, SAG-AFTRA does actually represent, you know, the performers themselves, what if the level of comfort of a performer is not there? I mean, what kind of rights do they have to say, I know I'm under contract right now, I know you're back into production right now, but I'm really not feeling good about coming back, and maybe there's an underlying cause.
Generally speaking, anybody who feels unsafe in their workplace isn't going to be expected to go in there and try to do that job. And I think so far the producers that I've encountered where there's this concern have worked really hard to assuage those concerns and make sure that people feel comfortable coming back.
In this period of adaptation, there's a lot of performers and there's a lot of at-home experiences. So does SAG-AFTRA have any kind of governing rights over that? I mean, how is a performer, a broadcaster, et cetera, protected when they have to then be their own production company at home? I mean, that's kind of an arena where we're watching everybody in their house.
It does mean there's a lot of performers making their own self-generated content right now. A lot of that we don't cover, some of it we do cover depending on the nature of it. But I think what people really are looking forward to, I mean, people do enjoy making self-generated content, and a lot of times it can turn out really great, but I think people are really excited to get back to the larger, more sort of broad-based professional productions that people are really excited to do. Aside from the pandemic, there's obviously a broader social movement going on right now with Black Lives Matter, and obviously that's focused on the government and policing and those kinds of areas, but I think it's led to a broader conversation that's happening about inclusion, and we're certainly interested in that. We have a structure within our organization, both for our members and our staff, where we're constantly pushing for greater inclusion in the industry. And perhaps this change in the way that production is made will provide us some opportunities to push forward in that as well.
The Valley is offering a unique canvas to artists. Mayor Eric Garcetti unveils new technology at LAX. And one of Hollywood's oldest eateries reopens. All is up next on City Beat.
The iconic Hollywood mainstay, Musso and Frank Grill, has announced their reopening after shutting the doors for 3 months due to COVID-19. The reopening will implement heavy precautions to protect guests. Such precautions include assisted parking rather than valets, no groups of 6 or more, air-conditioned filters retrofitted to include hospital-grade filtration and sanitizer stations. Opening in 1919, Musso and Frank Grill is Hollywood's oldest restaurant. In an effort to combat COVID-19, Mayor Eric Garcetti and Los Angeles World Airports announced the launch of the Terminal Wellness Project. Thermal camera technology will be used to identify passengers have elevated body temperatures of 100.4 degrees, which is the current guideline for detecting a fever set by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. The program is voluntary, and signs within the airport will direct passengers on where to go to receive the tests. Local artists are being sought out to help with the Street Box Art Project. Taking place in Pacoima, Sylmar, Mission Hills, and North Hills, 38 utility boxes have been designated to receive mural art on them. Help style up the neighborhood. Interested artists should send in submissions to streetboxart.com.
Shelter-at-home orders are lifting just in time for Father's Day. Council members Herb Weston and Gil Cedillo each held neighborhood giveaways to salute SoCal's dads.
We're beginning to celebrate an important day for me because I'm a father. So we're celebrating Father's Day. We're trying to help those that are suffering from the effects of the COVID-19 virus. Want to let people know that we care. But I mean, this is just a good day. We've got DJ Mustard, 100 Black Men. A lot of organizations have chipped in so we can make a lot of folks' weekend a good weekend.
We're here today to help with the Father's Day barbecue food giveaway. This is an organization that believes in helping and serving our community. We have members here today to help the community in any way we can.
This is gonna help 3 of my family members that are in need, so I'm very happy and blessed that they have this opportunity for the community.
I'm here today to literally receive some goods as far as to Father's Day, but outside of Father's Day, I'm here to also celebrate Juneteenth. So in terms of what's going on right now, I want to be able to make sure to be supportive of the community actions that are taking place. But in addition to that, I would like to actually encourage others to also come down here to participate as well, to receive some goods, but outside of receiving some goods, possibly enjoy this weekend as well.
It's times like this where government's supposed to rise, not shrink. We are essential workers, and essential workers do their job, and I'm just proud to be amongst them.
We're giving food, we're giving prizes for the fathers, for Father's Day. Just having some fun time with the community. He has been helping us like for the past 6 weeks already because of the COVID-19.
It's a rewarding job, it's a rewarding position, making sure these residents are fed during these difficult times. A lot of these residents are in the low income status, so they don't have the needs of getting supplies like this. So it's a rewarding experience.
The goal is to serve families, providing them a little bit of dignity with a warm meal. There's no greater reward than noticing that we're doing something to help others. With partnerships with amazing people like Councilmember Gil Cedillo's office and their field deputies that are incredible to work with, we are able to provide a little glimmer of hope in our communities that are strongly in need.
And while members of City Council had the dads covered, a national frozen yogurt chain remembered the grads. Channel 35 stopped by during Yogurtland's senior celebration. Take a look.
Today we're honoring the senior class of 2020. All high school and college seniors are getting a free yogurt and toppings all day long at 15 LA locations. We know that they've had the unusual quarantine graduation, so we want to make something special for them to remember. In order to receive this special cup, you have to wear either any type of 2020 gear or show your diploma, your school ID, maybe wear your Letterman or anything that signifies you're a 2020 graduate.
Honestly, I think it's amazing, you know. I think the seniors this year have gone through a lot, and just to have that like little added touch is really, really amazing. I really like the cheesecake yogurt here. I put cheesecake bites on it.
I think it was a great idea, especially with everything going on right now. It was a good way to celebrate the seniors right now, especially since we're not walking the stage. So I think it's just an amazing way to celebrate them and, you know, let them try our yogurt. I remember my graduation. It was very emotional. It was very, you know, something I'll always remember. So it honestly sucks that they couldn't walk the stage, but I'm happy there's other ways to celebrate and things like yogurt. You know, we have so many flavors, so I think it's great that they get to come and get a free cup of anything as a way to celebrate. The first customer I got when I opened, she was very excited. She was like, oh my god, like free yogurt, and like she was showing it off to her family members, taking pictures, so it was just a great thing to see her happy, you know, as a way to celebrate her.
Once upon a time, Juneteenth was a fairly obscure cultural event. But in recent years, as its significance has become better understood, Juneteenth has grown in popularity and visibility. The Channel 35 cameras were there as Lamert Park celebrated its 11th Juneteenth festival.
place in my heart because we celebrate Juneteenth as if it was the 4th of July because this is our Independence Day. So I'm here to honor my ancestors and to honor my people by just being a good spirit and a good character and just bringing attention to what today really means.
For so long we didn't understand what this day meant to us. It took some time for everyone to know that they were all free. So Juneteenth is the day that everyone in the United States knew that the emancipation of slavery had went down.
I think now during this time that all people are coming together, and especially in this neighborhood in Lamert Park, you see the gentrification going on, so and that we're all coming together. So they can see that these events are positive events for all people, not just for us.
People are going to leave here talking about what they saw today. So they should be talking about things that are important, that are meaningful, that are powerful, and that bring some sense of love and peace to our community, especially in these times.
I think it's important for everyone to understand everyone. I think that that is the problem right now, is that we have so much misunderstanding. So if we were to come here, and like different cultures were to come here, they would just see the fact that there is nothing but love and pretty colors and great food, and that's what we're all about, you know, great music, and that's really all that the black culture is about. I think that it's important for everyone to know that we all come from the same foundation.
My life, and I just want to breathe. Y'all want to breathe? Just breathe. Come on, everybody, inhale and exhale. Just breathe.
Welcome to Be the Change. I'm Rasha Goel. And talking about change, well, my two guests here today have been making huge changes in people's lives. Joining me today are Councilman John Lee from the 12th District. Welcome. And Greg Perlman, the founder of the Change Reaction. Wonderful to have you both here today. You guys have been really helping the community with their groceries and small business loans. So tell me a little bit about this collaboration and how it came together.
Greg and I were both involved with an organization called the San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission. What we found was that this is a family shelter, and we heard some of the reasons why they found themselves in that place. And sometimes it was just one major incident, and that if that incident would have been taken care of, they would have been able to stay in the houses or the apartments where they were living. One day, the executive director, former executive director, introduced us together. We started talking about, that very aspect of it, and Greg started thinking about what if we could cover them for that one major expense.
We have a relationship with UCLA, and we created this angel fund there where we said, what happens to all these people who get hospitalized and their families can't pay rent, and there's a host of issues, and we created this angel fund for them to be able to give to patients. That was where the Change Reaction was born. And the reason I called it the Change Reaction was I started realizing it's not an organization, it is a 501c3, but we don't take donations. It's a philosophy of giving.
Are there any stories that you can share, that maybe a personal story from one of the clients that moved either one of you?
There was one lady, I remember applying, her son went for an appendectomy surgery. There were some complications, fell into a coma. And really one of her biggest asks was she needed help with just transportation, gas, to get back and forth from Granada to USC.
My 10-year-old son, Christopher Lopez, December 15th, 2019, he was in the hospital for appendicitis, turned into septic shock and cardiac arrest. He was in the hospital until March 12th this year, 2020. He was home, he went home for about until April 30th to May 5th. He was back in for aspiration pneumonia. I have him home now. During this time, when it all happened back in December, I received a call from Jenna at One Generation. She had explained to me that I can receive some help from the Angel Fund. I was provided gas cards, which was a big help because we were at the hospital night and day. I didn't even get a chance to be with my other two children. I had to leave them with my parents. She also submitted some help for rent, which was also a huge relief. I mean, it's wonderful that there are programs like this out and available.
What is the change that you would like the change reaction to create?
I want to see our wealthiest people in this country become more fulfilled in their giving by moving money back into the worthy people in their community that make up the fabric of the community. And I feel like we're on to something as long as we can get everybody in the community engaged. I feel like this is going to be a game-changing philosophy of giving.
In times of trouble, that our community really comes together. And fortunate for us, there are people like Greg here that don't really measure themselves on where they are on some chart of wealth, but really measure themselves on how much they can give back to this community. It's really that hope that we're all going to get through this together.
Enjoy the International Samba Congress online. Take a virtual mural and graffiti art tour and make time for a little soul expression. All this next on Virtual Things to Do.
You are invited to the online event for Soul Expression. This event is all about working on anything creative. Something you want to start, something you need to finish. It can be drawing, painting, knitting, singing, taking an online course, or even coloring in a coloring book. It is endless on how and what you could do during this time. Indulge in the type of art that makes us feel loved, seen, or even heard. Check out Soul Expression, Sunday, July 5th from 1 to 4 p.m. For details, visit their listing on Eventbrite. Take a live virtual guided tour of graffiti and murals of the LA Art District from the comfort of your home. Famous for its rich art scene, the downtown LA Arts District has long been a place where artists of many backgrounds came together to create, discover, and collaborate. All of our guides are themselves local artists, showing you the art they live and the neighborhood they love. Attendees will link up via Zoom to experience this one-of-a-kind tour. Don't miss virtual graffiti and mural art tours. For information, visit their listing on Eventbrite. The International Samba Congress is the biggest celebration of samba outside of Brazil. It's a unique 3-day cultural experience revolving around a strong, exciting, energy-filled rhythm, which is called samba. This online congress will feature classes, lectures, and participants from around the world. Don't miss the chance to get your samba on with the International Samba Congress, July 3rd through 5th. For ticket and program information, look for their listing on Eventbrite. And that's a look at some virtual things to do.
This year is very unique for us. Normally, we have the ability to go to public fireworks shows in the city of Los Angeles. 4th of July is a great time for family and friends to celebrate. We all love 4th of July. A big part of that, obviously, is seeing fireworks with our family and friends. Unfortunately, this year with the COVID-19 pandemic, we're not having the public fireworks shows, but I want you to know that fireworks in the city of Los Angeles are still illegal, all types of fireworks. We respond to numerous injuries from fireworks. Let me give you an example. Sparklers that we think are safe, we think are real fun to set off and write our names, we give them to our own kids. Sparklers are 1,200 degrees Fahrenheit. Let me put that in context a little bit. We have normal water that boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and a normal wood-burning fire or a campfire, that's about 575 degrees. Our community emergency response team volunteers that will be patrolling from July 1st to July 4th, looking for any fires or any fireworks that are going off or any fires that are caused from the fireworks. So just know when you see those volunteers out there, they're looking at protecting those communities to ensure that all the residents and the visitors of Los Angeles are safe. And please, just keep an eye on them. Thank you for being in the community. These are, members that are working on their time, volunteering to make sure that our city stays safe.
That's it for this edition. I'm Saida Pagan. For all of us here at LA This Week, thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. See you next time for more LA This Week.